The faceting, which is from the wood wheel and is actually a sign of authenticity. This is a Bohemian French pendeloque. The irregular shapes derive from rock crystal chandeliers used in the 16th century. The molds used to make these pendeloques were in the possession of the Schonbek factory in Bohemia over 100 years ago. If you were to find a vintage crystal chandelier in Grandma's attic, it might have crystal like this. The shapes are heirloom. Whimsical beads, tiny droplets, and antique style faceted beads. Colored crystal dates back to the 16th century, though it's become very trendy today. We call our colored crystal jewel tones. The formulas used are closely guarded secrets handed down from one generation to the next. Our color palette is rich and varied. Ruby red, olivine, sapphire, topaz, amethyst, and black diamond. Rock crystal came into being with the very formation of the earth. It's a marvel of nature. Each crystal is unique in the universe, marked by wondrous fissures and veins. It's mysteriously cool to the touch in any weather. Collectors have always prized rock crystal since antiquity. Rock crystal ornaments cannot be mass-produced. Skilled gem cutters grind, cut, and polish each rock crystal ornament by hand.
Arnold Schonbek often remarked that a chandelier should be beautiful, undressed, half-dressed, or fully dressed.
It's hard to overstate the importance of finish as an element in the design of a chandelier. For many, many years, chandelier design was constrained by a sense that it had to be a polished kind of finish, maybe a gold or a silver. We've really enjoyed breaking those rules in creating a whole array of new kinds of finishes. And what's new about these finishes is that they're old. All of them are richly textured. They're multi-hued, and there's nothing about them that's uniform. They look like they've been either hand-worked by the touch of a master or that they've been worked over by time.
The juxtaposition of supremely elegant crystal and rough metalwork creates a whole new aesthetic that works beautifully with the new eclecticism.
Along with this, there's been just a new decorating freedom, where in the past there used to be very rigid, structured rules that this kind of a period piece of furniture could go with this kind of a wall treatment and that kind of a chandelier. People today want to be able to express themselves. They want their homes to tell a story of who they are. And crystal as something, on the one hand, out of the past, can be combined in so many interesting ways with things of the present, things from around the world, that it can speak in a new way. Florentine is lighting on a really intimate scale. You know, we've made other small chandeliers, but what's special about Florentine is the degree to which we've concentrated lovingly on all the details, kind of like a medieval miniaturist painting tiny illustrations onto a treasured manuscript. We have gossamer strands of very, very fine 5mm beads, miniature, intricately cut French pendeloques, micro grapelets that are draped about on elfin arms and scrolls that trace Italianate lines. Recently, we've decided to apply our love of crystal to table lamps. Since the 19th century, we've been working with the interplay of light and crystal in chandeliers. Now we've found a way to bring the crystal table lamp to life. What we've done is captured the light within the body of the vase to create what we call bottled light. We've chosen to use crystal cut with great elegance and restraint, without an excess of ornamentation. You know, quite often all of the busy cross-hatching and other ornamentation that one sees in crystal table lamps is to hide impurities in the glass itself. Well, we've been able to find a crystal with purity and with perfection that allows for the clean and uncluttered design of the ornamentation that we've used. And surprisingly, perhaps, we've chosen to combine this with richly ornate Rococo castings. And the contrast between these elements really creates an energy that sets these designs apart. We've also had fun developing contemporary and whimsical table lamps. These lamps really move in unexpected directions. Even the shades we use are unique to Schonbek. We work with many kinds of fabrics: Dupioni silks, silvery sheers, exotic studded and embroidered materials.
Our Versailles and Renaissance chandeliers harken back to Louis XIV's The Sun King. And the pièce de résistance in these pieces are actually the cut crystal spike, which is right at the heart, in the center of the chandelier. And what we've actually done is embedded a light right in that spike, which just warms the chandelier from the inside out.
Cast Rococo chandeliers are an important historic style dating back to the 18th century. Our new collection interprets this vintage style in a totally new way. Most cast chandeliers in the market today are assembled from unrelated parts catalogs, but we started from scratch to achieve perfect harmony. We collaborated with master craftsmen in Italy, and we made tooling for dozens of cast components, right down to the structural bits and pieces. These incredibly ornate castings are all original designs with interrelated ornamental themes.
The rose is pure romance. We named it after the tiny rose motifs entwined in the scrollwork. Like the rose in nature, the rose crystal chandelier is rich and varied. It comes in 32 varieties. These complex color palettes capture every mood of nostalgia.
We honor tradition at Schonbek, but at times we break with tradition too. Our approach to contemporary design has revolutionized lighting. One very edgy example of this is quantum. This complex design is entirely made of very simple shapes. Square and rectangular crystal jewels come together in great profusion to form square and rectangular light sculptures. A crystal chandelier or pendant can take on the shape of a cube, a slab, a plank, or a block. We make quantum with Strass and Swarovski crystal, the finest crystal in the world. And so you have an amazing display of prismatic brilliance combined with a strictly disciplined design.
This new rendition of Hamilton is dressed entirely in jet black crystal. It's rather like a photographic negative of a classic chandelier. You expect the crystal to be dazzling, but it's glossy rather than glitzy. We display jet black crystal on other new Schonbek designs as well. For example, Capella, our mirrored crystal chandelier.
On a typical Rivendell chandelier, there will be many thousands of these very precious beads, cut crystal beads, which were in fact developed for the jewelry industry. And you know, they're the kinds of things that one would wear in beautiful jewelry. And we've married them with incredibly intricate frame components, as you can see, which grow out of elements from nature. Each Rivendell chandelier is really a work of art. When you look at the Old World collection, as its name implies, this really defines the essence of what a traditional crystal chandelier is. All parts of the chandelier are made out of glass. This is a design that goes back to the 17th century. And yet, as is always the case, we've found new ways to do it that are quite different. Nevertheless, even my great-grandfather would be quite at home with the appearance, though we've done it in a way that he would never have anticipated.